Brian showed up. I gave him $20 for the first hours of assistance. He's already began helping me to move stuff that is not necessary for the legal process and verifying the evidence. He's already helped me to move a bunch of it out of here, even though it's only temporary. At least it makes room for him. Also, as he is very well aware, and I've told him many times, I don't have to like you to like your dog. Also, before I started this, Brian is well aware that I record everywhere I go. He's stated many times that he is okay with being recorded. He doesn't mind anything that he says. He said it. He ain't trying to hide it. Obviously, I don't necessarily agree with everything he has to say, and he don't agree with everything I have to say. Some of our opinions on different folks are a bit different. Some of them exactly the same. So he said it'd just be just a few minutes before he comes back, because I sent him to go get some drinks for us. I do not mean alcoholic drinks at all. I quit drinking over 25 years ago. Um, I do have, I'm told that I have to make 3 copies of everything. This is just the copies of my handwritten, basically, diary in the jail. I've got the actual diary that it was copied from right next to me. This only contains stuff that the deputies didn't destroy. And I got it in a file folder. Everything's folded in half so that it's in order. I was not able to keep it in order of, well, it used to be in order of specifically what day an event happened. And they, shit, I put this is it. It's got the edges folded in on this, but that's the actual diary that I kept while I was in jail. And now I'm trying to burn my evidence to the ground with the end of a cigarette. It's definitely a good idea if I put that out. Um, Brian understands that one of the things that we're doing is I'm going to be showing him evidence that's got private information in it. So he's going to make sure that he doesn't read phone numbers or anything like that, and neither do I. If it's a situation where it's a public safety issue, then yes, we'll probably say the phone number and the date that it happened. If it's a criminal act, then yes, it's important. Um, he was also able to see a lot yesterday, so we're going to try to verify some of that. Now, in the meantime, while we're waiting for him to get here with maybe some orange juice or some cranberry juice or something, I'm going to start looking up some of the other stuff to show him. And of course, putting out this cigarette. Oh, God, I am so glad I put this pole here. Maybe I should slide that cushion back so I don't slide off the friggin' thing when I get up. Now, we've shown on this YouTube channel that uh, hold on a second. A lot of this evidence that I showed him does exist. We've already shown it on this YouTube channel. There's also a lot of stuff that he has not seen yet. And hold on a second. I'm going to go to this one right here. And see about this. We have the instructions on abuse and neglect. It says name Schwartz Sean D. 11/19/2022 at 18:57, and it's about abuse and neglect. By this time, I'd already been run around in circles and treated like the Natalie Bollinger situation was a schizophrenic delusion. Something that they claimed that they knew all along, but somehow it didn't make it to their paperwork. So Brian got to verify some of that yesterday. I haven't gotten to show him the actual paperwork itself with some of it, but he's going to hopefully do some of that today. Um, uh, I got a tiny swig of my coffee left. It's gone. So, of course, making room in here is important. I'm doing that as well. Let's see. I apologize if I'm not paying attention so much to the screen and the live audience, if there is such a thing. I'm having to go specifically to where a lot of evidence actually is. Oh wow, yeah, I forgot those guys were messing with me too. Let's see, and Mandy, oh, shit, that was a long time ago. Let's see, videos and oldest. All right, there we go. All right, because I don't want this audio recording going too long, it was just to make sure that I did record with Brian Wilgus, that he was still okay with being recorded, and verifying that, and also verifying what he was here to help me do. I did have, god damn it, him do some manual labor, which is nice. And I did keep my word, sort of. I told him that I'd pay him $20 as soon as he got here. And he gave me his reason for not being here earlier, or being a no call, no show. It's kind of hard for him to, well, we'll make sure that he's got the phone number before he leaves. There is a shit ton here. All right, let's make sure this thing is still working. I know sometimes we end up having issues with it where it just shuts off. I'm going to read what's on here, just so you know what it says. Again, I'm going to make sure that I get close enough to actually show you that it's got my name on it. Schwartz, Sean D. 11/19/2022 at 18:57 p.m. And I was trying to turn in the abuse by multiple agencies in town, including CARE and TFCC, and also very specific police officers, including Officer Trent Olson and Officer God, what is that guy's name? Lynn Lothman. I'm sorry, there's a lot of officers involved in this. I got to show Brian yesterday that there was a lot going on, and I got to show the evidence of whale and Lolatai. I also got to show him how much evidence there is actually to go through. I'm looking at $6,000 to $8,000 just to get copies of all this stuff. And when folks want to volunteer to do it, they don't understand what a monumental task this truly is. So we've got 4 pieces of paper here, and I did, like I said, make multiple copies of it, so that I can give people copies so they know what instructions I'm trying to follow and have been trying to follow. And also there's other sets of instructions that I'm also having to try to follow. I'm having to try to do what the attorneys told me to do, which is completely different from what public defenders told me to do. How strange is that? How odd is it that when you hire an attorney for a private consultation and they tell you a particular set of instructions and you follow those instructions, and these instructions are for your safety. And by the way, those instructions, many of them are also in this set of instructions from the hospital on turning in the abuse. And there's also a lot of them that are very similar. The ones I got in Nebraska from Tamara back in 2017 were not identical. I mean, there's actually a lot of stuff in the lists that she gave me, and she printed them out from some workbook, I believe. I want to say that I thought that she might have downloaded some of it from the internet. I think the list that she gave me of what is supposed to help autistic people to stem or to defragment from really super screwed up situations. She gave me a list of the stuff that was on there. It had stuff on there like video games or a tablet, or sometimes when they're really having issues with sensory processing, some 3D glasses. Not, I mean, like the ones that you put in the movie theater, but like the Oculus Rift, right? So I actually bought the Oculus Rift because it was on that list. That's one of the first things that I spent my disability money on, because that's what Tamara gave me on her list. But I do believe that the one that she was giving me about the instructions of what keywords to use and also what keywords to look out for, ways that mandatory reporters such as police officers and nurses and doctors and attorneys in this state, also the clergy, paid clergy, teachers, school guidance counselors, these are all mandatory reporters. And there's things that they will tell you when they just don't want to do their job. Now, the very first thing that they tell you in a lot of these situations is what you need to look out for and make sure that you get recorded. Because when you're telling them about abuse that you are enduring, and they say, "I believe you," that means that they are supposed to immediately initiate contact. Sorry, got the little bastard. Isn't that nasty? I don't even remember where I was at in the story because that goddamn fly was annoying the living shit out of me. I suppose it doesn't matter. We'll get to reading this like we was supposed to. Abuse and neglect. Please continue to follow up with local resources, tides of change, care, helping hands, or local sites that may be able to provide advocates. And all of them told me that they were only advocates for housing. All of them. They also told me that they're not actually a service that helps people. They're a service that is supposed to provide information for other services, such as phone numbers. And then they say, have you called the Northwest Senior and Disability Center? Have you called Adult Protective Services? Have you called the police? Have you called the Sheriff's Department? Have you tried the State Patrol? Have you tried the Governor's Advocacy Agency? Tell me that wouldn't drive you nuts. It says, please continue to follow up with local resources, tides of change, care, helping hands, or local sites that may be able to provide advocates. More importantly, I will send a referral to TFCC for counseling as well as for advocacy. If you are feeling suicidal, have a plan, please seek care at our local ER. Which is exactly where I had gone. But not because I had a plan. It was because people were trying to push me and bully me into killing myself. Big difference. And you get to see why this is important later on. It says, more importantly, I will send a referral to TFCC for counseling as well as for advocacy. They only advocate for housing. But they make lots of money off the counseling. If you're feeling suicidal, have a plan, please seek care at our local ER. This stuff obviously isn't working. It says you are not alone. There is good support in the community. You mean each of these places that pawns me off onto other places? They send me to every agency in Tillamook because it's apparently nobody's job. And then I'm sent to agencies outside of Tillamook who send me right back to the agencies in Tillamook. Have you tried care? People in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 have asked me if I have tried care. Yes, according to their paperwork, I believe it was September 11th or September 13th of 2022 was the first time that I went to care. It says, please continue to locate the time within each video for hard evidence required by the police to file an investigation. Yet, they refused to look at the evidence. When I did try to send it to their websites or to their Axiom, whatever crap that it is, they wouldn't show me how to use it. And it obviously wasn't working. It was a broken link. I even took screenshots when I tried to send this stuff showing that it was a broken link. I can't do anything with a broken link. We've also gotten to see that many people involved in this situation have encountered the same exact issue. Broken links. Broken links for the FBI. Broken links for the local police. Broken links for the state police. Broken links for the Governor's Advocacy Agency. Broken links for getting a hold of the county commissioner for his email. Lots of broken email links. Lots of broken links for turning in abuse. Lots and lots of switchboard issues or kiosk issues in the jail. Constantly having to change out kiosks. Oh, we're sorry. We have to deny you all of your rights as a human being because, lo and behold, you have no rights because right now the kiosk is down and you can't turn anything in. Oh, let's read some more of it. You've got to see I have been doing exactly that, going through the evidence as I can, finding the time within each one where people decided to put their nasty cockbeaters on me. Brian said that he was going to be gone way less than half an hour, so We'll see. I've been recording about 20 minutes now, and he left a bit before. So we shall see. It says, abuse and neglect refers to any way in which someone physically or emotionally harms or takes advantage of an older person. It also includes neglecting to protect an older person from physical, financial, or emotional harm. I'm going to read that again. It also includes neglecting to protect an older person from physical, financial, or emotional harm. Before you get angry at me about the fact that this piece of paper refers specifically to older people, despite the fact that I repeated to them that I'm disabled. This is the paper they gave me. I can't change that. It says, what are the different kinds of abuse and neglect? The different kinds of abuse and neglect include physical abuse. This includes rough handling, threats with a weapon, throwing objects, pushing, hitting, hair pulling, force feeding, and improper use of restraints or medicines. Now, that restraint thing is separated into two separate types of abuse. There is chemical restraints. That's where your grandma in the nursing home is given so many medications that they just pretend that she's got dementia. And often those medications are liver damaging, and often those medications have side effects such as heart failure, especially in older patients, which most patients with dementia are older. Chemical restraints, they make her too stupid to do anything except lay in bed and drool on herself. Yeah, that's not dementia, that's drugging somebody. That is chemical restraint. There's also physical restraints. This is where they try to initiate an issue so that they can tie you down. There's also the improper imprisonment stuff that goes along with that. It says the different kinds of abuse and neglect include physical abuse. This includes rough handling, threats with a weapon, throwing objects, pushing, hitting, hair pulling, force feeding, and improper use of restraints or medicines. Sexual abuse. This involves unwanted sexual contact that is forced or tricked. Emotional abuse. This includes verbal attacks, rejection, humiliation, intimidation, social isolation, or threats. Abuse may also include denying the person participation in decisions that affect his or her life. Oh, you mean like the courts did? You mean the stuff that mandatory reporters did? You mean the people that I'm supposed to turn this stuff into? The people that are on this list? You mean things that those people did? Whew! Now let's make sure that we show that this piece of paper exists. Brian has already seen it. Let's try to make sure that it focuses well enough that you can read every bit of it. Oh, come on. That's page 1. We'll go to page 2. Brian said he was just going to get his bike at his house, and then he was going to go get the juice, and then he was going to come right back. I gave him $10 for the task because I don't mind drinking water, but I drink a ton of water. So the second page, and it does say at the bottom, same date, 2 of 4, Schwartz, Sean David. And these guys want to pretend that it's only their job as a mandatory reporter to do something if it happens right in front of them. And only if it's a physical assault. Really? That's not what the law says. The moment that they tell you that they believe you, there are legal obligations or legal consequences. The moment that they tell you they believe you, they have to turn it in. Because if they don't, after they have already admitted that they believe you, that this is a credible accusation of abuse, they have a legal obligation as mandatory reporters. What the hell do they keep driving by and honking that damn thing? That is driving me nuts. You got no idea how many times I've laid down here going, man, they keep driving around the block, blaring that fucking air horn over and over and over again. I should probably start recording. But usually they do it late at night. I'm not sure if this is picking it up. I do know that my audio recording device absolutely does. So it's good that it's still recording and I didn't turn it off like I said I would. I'll probably do that when Brian gets here. It says financial abuse. This includes theft, fraud, and improper use of influence to gain control over money or property. This includes evidence. This includes my car. This includes my telephones, my computers. Scott DaCosta was able to lie repeatedly to people and claim that I was schizophrenic and delusional. That I was making this stuff up. He was spreading these lies to a bunch of people who had seen the Natalie Bollinger thing. He was just trying to pretend that his involvement and his department's involvement after and before Natalie's death were not true. It's kind of difficult when there's actual evidence of it, when there's a paper trail of it. It says financial abuse. This includes theft, fraud, and improper use of influence to gain control over money or property. Financial abuse is the most common form of elder abuse. Again, I do realize it says elder abuse. I'm also told repeatedly when I run around to these agencies with this paper a bunch of stuff about how the elder abuse doesn't apply to me and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, this is what they gave me at the hospital. All right. Their clerical errors are not my fault. My new instructions are all catch-22s. If I don't record it, the cops pretend it didn't happen. If I start recording as soon as it happens, well, then they tell me that they can't do anything about it because they didn't see how it started. So then I have to try to record all the time. And then when I'm 16 minutes into a video that I have to record for my safety all the time, and Andrew Wolnez walks into wherever I happen to be, and I go leave and go to my vehicle, I'm told, oh, well, it only happened because you were recording. Catch-22. Follow the paper instructions or use the improper use of influence to gain control over money or property. It says neglect. This is a caretaker's failure or refusal to meet the needs of an older person. This can include failure or refusal to provide food, shelter, clothing, personal hygiene, medical care, and social stimulation. Oh, you mean such as when you illegally arrest somebody for trying to turn you in, lie to people, and claim that they're a violent schizophrenic? Oh, you mean that? And then you take away all their access to that? You have no idea how shitty medical personnel are in jails and prisons or a regular hospital when a police officer takes you there and they'll just believe whatever he tells them. They don't give a shit if it's true or not. It's a position of trust. They're going to trust that that police officer is telling them the truth. And they're going to write it down as if it must be true because that police officer said so. That's fucking crazy. It says, what are the risk factors for abuse and neglect? Elder abuse is more likely to occur if a person is alone, isolated, or lonely. Yeah, social isolation, like I keep saying. You fucking slander somebody's name, resulting in them being physically assaulted, separated from their friends and family, stuck having to rely on drug addicts. I mean, this is fucking crazy. It says, elder abuse is more likely to occur if a person, one, is alone, isolated, or lonely. Two, has experienced a recent loss. Three, is mentally or physically disabled. Four, cannot manage his or her personal care or finances. Five, has contact with someone who abuses alcohol or drugs. Six, is over 75 years old. The frequency of abuse increases with advancing age. Obviously, that does not apply to me. Seven, lives at a care facility with a shortage of beds, too many patients, or not enough staff. Oh, you mean like the jails, which are considered health facilities, are considered care facilities under Title 42 USC? Absolutely. And also, there's the criminal laws that in each individual state tend to follow Title 42 USC in their criminal law definitions. Yeah. A lot of these things you want to claim are just civil. No, these are criminal acts, especially against a vulnerable adult. It says here, abuse may also occur with caregivers who, this is the, like, of course, Jungling and Taylor and Moody. Jungling turning off his body camera in the jail to tell me that he knows somebody who could do the right job. Tell me about how horrible TFCC is and how they make things worse, how they have made things worse with his depression, and about how he's got a youngin' in his family who is autistic, and he thinks that what's happening is fucking horrible. Also, how TFCC was treating that individual who was autistic was absolutely horrible. It says abuse may also occur with caregivers who are under great stress. This may be due to financial, marital, or work problems, a recent decline in health, or loss of a loved one. Now, these, if you listen to my so called friends' excuses for not coming through, they know the excuses. They know all of the excuses. All of this stuff here is a valid reason, apparently, for somebody to not keep their word. But also, according to the courts, according to the police, I'm a liar when these people don't come forward about this. When Kayla Trujillo doesn't come forward about her issues. That I'm being denied help because of something that isn't my fault. Didn't have anything to do with me. Overwhelmingly. Again, I'll read this. Abuse may also occur with caregivers who, one, are under great stress. This may be due to financial, marital, or work problems, or a recent decline in health, or loss of a loved one. Many of the things that I've had to go through. It says, two, have a history of mental illness, such as depression or mental instability. Mental illness. What mental illness in specific? Because they mean schizophrenia and delusional disorder in specific. That's how they try to use it. That's how they try to paint it. And you get to see how they use that word in the news, in the media, and of course in front of Congress. They want to use that term mentally ill in such a horrible way. PTSD is a mental illness. If your dad rapes you over and over and over again, and you have to try to turn it into your mom and she doesn't fucking care, or she's not around, she's too messed up on drugs, she's too drunk, whatever the reason, you might have PTSD. That's a mental illness. That's right, both a caregiver and a victim can both have those quote unquote mental illnesses. But are they schizophrenia and delusional disorder? My paperwork says no. But TFCC and the courts want to pretend so. It says abuse alcohol or other drugs. How many of my predators abuse alcohol and drugs? How many of the witnesses abuse alcohol and drugs? How many of the people who offered to help were on alcohol and drugs? How many of my so called friends and family were on alcohol and drugs? How many of these people offered to help me, and then when it interfered with their drugs and alcohol, decided it was just too much of an effort to actually get off their lazy asses and actually do what a friend would do? If your friend was just assaulted, what would be more important to you, going partying or helping to turn it in? My so-called friends just wanted to offer to beat the shit out of people. All right, so we're at 36 minutes into this. I gave Brian $30. That's $20 for an hour worth of work, and then $10 to go get us something to drink. It's now 36 minutes. Well, 36 minutes since I started the stream, and I want to say I was moving stuff for probably 10 minutes, and that's being nice about it. I was moving stuff for about 10 minutes by myself after he left. I had to wait for my computer to load up again and do all of the really long crap that it does. Thank goodness I was able to do a little bit to get some stuff cleared off and organized in a way that hopefully it'll make my computer not suck so bad, and it kind of works. I'm stuck on Windows 10. It won't update anymore on Windows 10. It tells me to upgrade to Windows 11, but also my computer is not capable or compatible with Windows 11, and it gives me that as soon as I try. So there's that. It says, how do I know if someone is being abused or neglected? Now, if you don't check in on them, you won't know any of this. If you don't listen to their story because you're busy giving suggestions or talking about how you are having financial, marital, or work problems, a recent decline in your health, or the loss of a loved one. Through all of those things, through all of my financial issues, I've never been married. My work problems, the declines in my health, and the loss of my loved ones, I have still continued to do the right thing. And when people come to me for help, I do try to help them how they ask if I'm capable, because they know their situation better than I do. It says someone may be going through abuse or neglect. I'm sorry, the paper was old when I photocopied it, so I can't quite read that part. It says, has physical signs of abuse such as 1. Injuries to the skin, such as A. Burns, B. Scars, C. Bruises, D. Sores, E. Rashes. Number 2, broken bones. Number 3, weight loss. Number 4, injury to the genitals. Number 5, difficulty walking. I've experienced most of those. It says, does not have access to medical and personal items such as medicines, hearing aids, or eyeglasses. Shows behavioral signs of abuse or neglect. The older person may, and pay attention to these. When I have a mental breakdown over this abuse, over the assaults, over the police neglecting their duties, over TFCC and CARE neglecting their duties. Same with Northwest Senior and Disability Services, Adult Protective Services, the Sheriff's Department, here and elsewhere, all over Slander in Colorado, which Brian has gotten to see some of that. Um, so let's pay attention to these. It says, shows behavioral signs of abuse or neglect. The older person may, one, move away from or seem afraid of a caregiver. That would include the police officers. Yes, I was scared shitless of police officers. And when I told in specific on the police officers who were abusing me, those police officers were the ones who were allowed to come antagonize the situation without fail every time. When I tried to tell on Scott DeCosta came to assault me and fucking threaten me. When I tried to tell on Enoch, they'd use him to come threaten me and assault me, antagonize the situation. It's gross. Shows behavioral signs of abuse or neglect. The older person may move away from or seem afraid of a caregiver. Withdraw socially. Become violent or agitated. Well, agitated for goddamn sure. If I'm violent, it's because someone's life is in immediate danger, or they have presented a situation to me where any reasonable person under those circumstances would reasonably believe that the right thing to do would be to call 911. So, if I'm being physically assaulted, that's not a situation where I'm, in most cases, going to need to get physically violent. Violence is rarely the answer. When it is the answer, it is the only answer. I'd rather record the situation than harm somebody. You get to see that most of these people who are assaulting me, they're hitting me in the back of the head. The reason that they're hitting me in the back of the head is because my back is to them. Obviously, I can't run away from them. I haven't been able to run since October 17th of 2015. It's over 10 years ago, over a decade that I've been disabled. Physically, anyway. It says the older person may withdraw socially, become violent or agitated, seem depressed, have nightmares or difficulty sleeping. Imagine that. Are my nightmares because of drug use? What drugs were they giving me for 15 months while I was in jail? I'll tell you. They gave me Tums. Yeah, that's right. They gave me Tums for acid indigestion. That's the only medication they gave me. It says, lives in an unhealthy or unsafe environment. Well, if I'm having to depend on drug addicts or people who have every excuse to retaliate against me for trying to tell on them, who are denying me my right to reach out to who I need to, denying me the right in many cases to even speak to an attorney, punishing me when other inmates were literally threatening to kill me over Natalie Bollinger. There was one guy named Tone, and he was threatening to kill me. And he was, from what people were telling me yesterday, apparently Tone has a twin brother. And this guy come up to me and asked me for a cigarette. And I said, I'm going to give one to you, even though you threatened to kill me. And he said, when did I threaten to kill you? He said, you must be talking about my twin brother, Tone. Well, I don't know if he's got a twin brother or not. I just got to believe him. The other people that were there were claiming that he's got a twin brother. Yeah, I gave him a cigarette. It says, shows sign of not being cared for, such as poor hygiene or dirty clothes. Get into a place where I can actually take a shower and wash my clothes isn't the easiest thing to do. That hasn't been the problem through most of this. The problem through most of this is that I have to budget my money. I don't get paid enough disability money every month to actually live on, let alone pay for anything extra. Like having to waste my time going to a bunch of different therapy sessions for advocacy that doesn't exist. Oh, we only advocate for housing. Later on, they change their story. Imagine that. So that's page number 2. Is that you, Brian?
Yeah.
Did you bring Gucci?
Yeah.
All right, just so you know, I am recording. I just wanted to make sure you're still okay with that. Yep, I know. So, let me show you what I was gonna. I was reading this to it. Oh, nice cranapple. Yes.
Okay, so this guy in the store, right, comes around the corner and almost runs into me with a shopping cart. Scoochie barked at me to move. One of the workers came in and said, "Excuse me, your dog is barking." I'm like, "Yeah, he's a medical alert dog. He's telling you that someone came at me with a shopping cart to move." That's just not right. I'm like, "Why don't you go do your job and I'll do mine? Unless you want to keep your job." "Do you want to keep your job?" She's, "What?" I said, "Do you want to keep your job? If you continue talking to me, you're not going to have one."
Oh, this is still recording too. I was gonna turn it off and start it up again as soon as you got here. I guess I can do that now. For just in case, if they are able to destroy the recordings on one device, it'll be on another. You wanna? Did you get the person's name?
No. She wouldn't tell me.
That's pretty common. Waylon Lolatai, the officer I was showing you. You remember I was telling you about the Colorado Donkey Watch? The what do they call it? The First Amendment auditors that I found out what Waylon Lolatai's name was from them, like 7 months or 8 months after Waylon Lolatai assaulted me. Although I'm reading this to the thing, I suppose letting you read it would be better because I keep interrupting. I keep pausing to start telling my story, and I will literally never get through all this. Like, were you able to read that last night?
Hmm?
Very cool. All right.
I didn't know, sir.
You can. If you're able to use your Big Daddy voice, I guess I'll just let you read every word without any embellishment. Just
Read out loud?
Just read it out loud. We can wait until after you've had a cigarette, or you can read it first, and then I'll give you a cigarette.
Then be able to provide advocates. More importantly, also you refer to FCCC for counseling as well as for advocacy.
I don't think
suicidal, have a plan. Please seek care at our local ER. We joke. You are not alone. There's good support in our community. Please continue to locate time with each video for hard evidence required by the police to file an investigation. What?
Yeah, I already
There's
read
some
that part.
bullshit.
I actually have the video of that interaction because I was trying to turn in Lynn Lothman, and Lynn Lothman showed up to be a dick.
He's actually one of my friends.
Yeah, I know you said that.
It's weird.
Also, Candace and Joe that worked at Safeway. Joe was the manager of the manager of the meat part, and Candy was the manager of the deli. I'm sorry. Oh, I was going to say, if you could read it loud enough for the recording device to understand it. This thing actually records better than my phone or better than my computer, but I'm not sure if it'll be loud enough for it to actually hear what you're saying, especially with the vehicles driving by and the plastic doing its thing.
See, right?
Oh, yes. Um, where the hell did I put them? I know that you gave them back to me. There they are. And here's the lighter.
To me, it sounds like just do like a pamphlet to placate their responsibility onto somebody else.
Yeah, well, every one of these places that I've called, I've made over 900 calls based on being referred to other places since
To
I
me,
got
it seems like
Tillamook.
you have a lot of room to file a civil suit,
Yeah,
but they're protected from criminal.
well, they're not. They
Well, they are
in order
in
to
a
be
way.
in order to be protected from criminal, there's a lot that goes into it. But oh, come on now, please keep
Well,
working.
they just don't recognize it as a criminal. Is the problem?
Yeah, it's still a criminal act.
Oh yeah.
I've read the laws. I've got even a lot of the ordinances written down. I've also got the stuff.
Financial abuse. This includes theft, fraud, impersonation of influence to gain control over money or property. Financial abuse is most common um, from elder abuse, neglect. This is a caretaker failure to or to refuse to meet the needs of an elderly person. This includes failure to refuse or to provide food, shelter, clothing, personal hygiene, medical care, and social stimulation. What are risk factors for abuse and neglect? Elder abuse is more likely to occur if a person is alone, isolated, or lonely, has experienced recent loss. What?
Yeah,
Uh, what? I don't get that. Why that's even there? Like, you can't.
because let's say your grandma just fucking died, but you're the caretaker for somebody, but
Okay.
your grandma just fucking died. It was your favorite grandma. You got to go to the funeral. You got all the financial shit piled onto you. You got to do all the organization of the funeral,
Mm-hmm.
or people are accusing you of fucking killing your grandma and fucking with you. You know, a recent
I've been
loss
there,
can
done
really
that.
fuck with your
I've been
life.
down that road with my mom.
Yeah, and what I'm having to deal with is I'm homeless. I got to deal with fucking a lot of recent loss.
You're not homeless. You're residentially liberated. Because all the address is glorified storage unit.
Right, but where are we at again?
Abuse.
Yes, sir.
Elder abuse is more likely to occur if a person is alone. That one. Can't manage his or her personal care or finances, has contact with someone who abuses alcohol or drugs, or is over the age of 75 years old. This frequently abuse increases with advanced age. Lives at care facilities with a shortage of beds, too many patients, or not enough of staff.
I think you might have you stopped at experienced recent loss. I don't. The part where it says is mentally or physically disabled.
I
I
read
think
that
you
in my
missed.
head. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Um, you can go ahead and continue. I'm sorry for interrupting.
It sounded like I read it out loud, but I didn't apparently.
Well, at least your voice is getting loud enough that I'm pretty sure it's recording.
Hmm. Abuse may occur with caregivers who are under great stress. This may be due to financial, or I can't read it.
Marital.
Okay, because there's a line to it.
Yeah.
Marital, um, to work problems, recent decline in health, or loss of a loved one. I don't see how loss of loved ones has anything to do with abuse. Like,
But no, it's
Oh, so you're saying
Abuse may also occur with caregivers who, this is their excuses for the abuse. This
Yeah,
is
okay, yeah.
excuses for neglect.
Yeah, okay.
This is, they're stressed out, so they're
Yeah.
fucking beating on a patient, or
Gotcha.
things of that nature, or they're just sick and tired of patient in room B
Or
and
has a history of mental illness such as depression or mental disabilities, alcohol abuse or other drugs.
that's
How do I
for
know
obvious
someone is being
reasons.
abused or neglected? There's nothing there.
Yeah, I can't read it either. I'll show that there. I'm sorry that I'm not able to read it. I had to make the photocopy from something that I was told that I needed to keep in my back pocket. I was told I needed to keep that in my back pocket. Like later on, I was told that I needed to keep the protection order against Andrew Wolnez in my back pocket. And that shit just got torn and shredded.
Stupid.
Yeah, they said,
So
well, they didn't tell
anything.
me to put it in my back pocket. They told me to carry it with me everywhere.
It sounds like they're not doing anything.
Right, exactly. They just make every
Do paperwork.
excuse.
They're the ones who's doing the neglect.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Yep.
the ones who's doing all this.
So what's next on this?
How do I know if someone is being abused or neglected? Has physical signs of abuse such as injuries to the skin, such as burns, scars, bruises, sores, rashes, broken bones, weight loss, injuries to the genitals, difficulties walking. Do not have the necessary medical or personal items such as medication, hearing aids, eyeglasses. Shows behavioral signs of abuse or neglect. The elderly person may move away from um, or seem afraid of a caregiver, withdraws socially, becomes violent or agitated, seems depressed, has nightmares or difficulty sleeping, lives in an unhealthy or unsafe environment, showing signs of being cared for, such as poor hygiene or dirty clothing.
Now, what's the name at the bottom of each of these say?
Schwartz, Sean D.
And what's the date over here?
11/19/2022.
Yeah, that's how long.
18:57 hours.
Yeah, that's how long I've been trying to turn these in. See, next page, I guess.
You may have breached the statute of limitations.
No, because they're still continuing to do this shit.
But they're not going to say that though.
It doesn't matter if they say that. What I was telling you yesterday
but you
about
have 6 months. You only have 6
no,
months to file.
you don't. That's the thing about neither one of us being lawyers and the situation
That's
of
what the attorneys told me.
the situation of them continuing to do it. They are still continuing to do it. It is an ongoing situation. The thing with the statute of limitations is that I am being abused. You got to see very clearly yesterday that I am being abused. That these people are literally using Natalie Bollinger's name as their excuse to assault me here in Tillamook over things.
But they're going to say that was in the past. That had already happened.
I know, but that's the thing is that I don't need you to play devil's advocate. Everybody does that.
I'm not playing it. I'm
but
just saying that.
The thing is, this is all stuff that I'm already aware of.
That's what I ran into.
And I've already ran into that stuff too. But the problem is that just like me, most of these people who have been lied to in these ways have had to go in alone. If you're still enduring this shit at the hands of the same people, especially when it comes to these government agencies, there are certain laws that if they break them, there is no statute of limitations. And I'm proving that that's exactly what they've done.
I was in jail.
Well, the thing is, I was in jail with you. I got to see how you were treated when you were having the seizures. And yeah, that shit was not okay. But one of the things is to verify what's on the pieces of paper.
They filmed me in 500 getting out of the shower, broadcasted me a family visit to a 9-year-old child nude. After I filed a complaint that camera could see that bathroom, and they never fixed it or turned it off.
Do you know which officers it was?
All of them.
Like which ones in specific?
Every single one of them.
Every officer was there for that?
And they all had me at 900, and they all fucking intimidated me. When I asked for a police report, I filed a complaint, I asked for police contact, they investigated me like I did something nefarious. Like I was exposing myself deliberately to a child. Like I shouldn't even be on the table to be able to do that in jail. Got a kiosk there for the visiting, looked right at the fucking bathroom. I've never been ever nude on the internet. And I'm still pissed off about that.
Well, that's something that if you want to turn it in, I'm willing to
I've been
help you
trying
turn it
to.
in.
But you know what? They told me my statute of limitations is up because I had 6 months to file it. But guess what? Every attorney I got a hold of wouldn't touch the case anymore.
Did you try to go to them alone?
No, I went through an attorney. See, my attorney
An
was
attorney or a public defender?
a public pretender.
Okay, it's
so
different. I've been talking to public pretenders and attorneys, and what the attorneys tell me is completely different from what the public
So my
pretenders
understanding
tell
is
me.
that my attorney is supposed to protect
Right,
my
but,
constitutional
all
right while I'm
right. So
incarcerated.
here's the thing: is that with all of this, we're not talking about all of the bullshit that they give us. We're literally looking at the pieces of paper that they
Right.
gave us, and we're reading this.
Right.
This right here is how they are busted. This is how I have busted them, is with actual evidence. Okay. The problem is that I need another person to turn it in with me. Not this, oh, what about an attorney? No, fuck attorneys.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
definitely fuck public pretenders. In order for an attorney to touch it, because these people call me mentally ill, I literally have to have somebody verify it. That's what I'm paying people to do,
Right, I
to
gotcha.
verify it. You know, and then it turns into a big long conversation about a bunch of stuff with them. And if we're gonna turn it in, then let's turn it in together. As far as the stuff for what we're doing now, it's verifying stuff in my case and verifying specifically all of the situations where they lied and how we busted them lying. And we start with this piece of paper here. Do you remember where we were at?
Mhm.
We were at so we're going to get started on page 3. I'll show this on here again. And I'm sorry if I was getting short or getting rude, but I really want to get on this. This is the one that's the most important. This is the instructions. This is on page 3. It says, how can elder abuse be prevented? And if you notice, it addresses if you are a friend or family
I don't
member.
have that. Do I?
It's the one with the face in the upper left-hand corner.
I got you. What's that?
Yes, sir. Or with the picture in the upper left-hand corner. But here it addresses friends or family before it addresses the victim. But go ahead, I'll let you read it. And you're loud enough now still, I think that it should be loud enough to record. Mm-hmm.
This is really good.
Yeah.
Tastes really good, really cold.
That stuff with Scott Brown, I spoke up about that today, about how I think that Benjamin Fishberg gave me the wrong papers. Oh, go ahead.
How can elder abuse be prevented? If you are a family member or a friend, try to see if the person regularly, frequently visits the person. You can determine if the person shows signs of abuse or neglect. Get to know the staff who are taking care of the person. Express any concerns that you may have right away. Keep note of communications. Take pictures if there are signs of abuse or poor health standards. Other accompany the person to medical appointments, financial institutions, or other important meetings. If you are an elderly person, remains active, avoid isolations, cultivate a strong support network of family or friends, be active in taking care of your health problems, do what you can to remain healthy, avoid signing documents or transferring money or property to anyone without first getting legal advice. Ask for professional help right away. If you need help managing your healthcare, daily living, or financials, assert your right to be treated with respect and dignity. And the other line is not able to be seen.
Ask a family member or a friend you trust to represent you as power of attorney in case you need this. Refuse to allow anyone who you do not choose to become involved in your financial affairs. That's where abuse of power and position all comes in.
Outline your wishes with advanced directive or living with
or a
medical.
living will
Yeah.
for medical decisions. Yeah, that crease in the paper is annoying as shit, but it was in
My
the paper
eye
when
is
I copied
irritating
it.
me. I got some of my fucking eye all wiring off of me. Look at this one, my eyes are all puffy.
Yeah, you said that when you got here,
Yeah.
so I was aware of it.
It's all bothering me.
You're good.
Fuck. Like my right eye starts getting fucking itchy and blurry.
I don't mind being patient.
Watch out, the guy. Sorry. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. I'm okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're a good boy. Huh? Yeah, you are. Good boo. Okay. Where we at? Outline your wishes with advance directive. I already read that one. What are the treatments for someone who is abused or neglected? Treatment depends on the type of abuse or neglect. It may include medical treatment for injuries, being seen by a healthcare provider if there's many problems like this.
All right, you're getting quiet again. It's kind of difficult to hear you.
Dementia. Okay. Being seen by a healthcare provider, providing if there are memory problems, dementia, support groups, or mental health counseling. If the older person seems lonely, anxious, or depressed, financial guidelines to help manage money or property. What should I do if I think someone is being abused or neglected? If you or someone you know is being abused or neglected, contact Adult Protective Services (APS) in the United States, any healthcare provider, the police. Right. Okay. Um,
An ombudsman. This
yeah.
person or service you can contact to discuss neglect or abuse claims in long-term care. I tried them. Turns out the address that I was given for the ombudsman wasn't actually the ombudsman. And also, you can't call the ombudsman from the jail. You can't contact any of the agencies
No.
that you have right to contact from the jail. I also found out that the uh, Tillamook County Jail is not in compliance with the Brady law.
No, they're not in compliance with any law.
So I guess we're on page 4. And they've committed Medicare and Medicaid fraud at CARE and TFCC, as well as several other locations,
Oh yeah.
TCCHC. So,
Yeah, they really like you to hold people's Social Security shit.
yep. All right, sorry, I'll let you read page 4.
Medicaid and Medicare fraud unit. These teams choose the case of health, medical, or financial abuse or neglect. Follow these instructions at home. Keep trusted individuals involved in your life. Stay connected with local experts who can help you guide you in times of uncertainty. Keep all follow-up visits. This is important.
Yeah, and nobody keeps up the follow visits. Like, nobody at all ever keeps these important follow up visits.
Where can I get more information? National Center for Elder Abuse, NISA at acl.gov, National Elder Locator 1-800-677-1116, or at www.eldercare.acl.gov. National Community for Prevention of Elder Abuse, www.preventialelderabuse.org. Can I get help right away if you if you or someone you know is being physically abused, being verbally or emotionally abused, which you have been both, having food or water withheld for long periods of time, showing signs of not being fed, not receiving needed medical care.
I can prove that last one easily.
If you believe that you or someone you know is in immediate danger, call your local emergency services, 911 in the U.S. Yeah, right. You might get arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Elder abuse or neglect refers to any right of way in which someone physically or emotionally harms an elderly person or takes advantage of him or her. The signs of abuse includes burns, broken bones, weight loss, bruises, confusions, fear of caregiver, and weariness of physical or mental health. The best way to prevent this abuse is to have frequent contact with an adult and express any concerns that you may have right away. If you or someone that you know has been abused or neglected, seek help right away. This information is not intended to replace an advocate given to you by your healthcare provider. Yeah, right. They don't have those. Make sure you discuss any questions, because I was the only healthcare advocate that there was around here that I was aware of, and I wasn't paid until I couldn't get paid for it. It was free.
Volunteer.
Yeah, I had to volunteer it. And I had like 30 caseloads before I quit.
Yeah. Did I show you the recording with Ryan Woods? The 2 recordings with him?
Yeah. That crazy bastard.
Yeah. Like when I told people that he sent me something about the Nazarene Church, a recording right before he went and did that stuff. Like I didn't even know that had happened until after he'd already driven through the Air Museum and broken into the sheriff's department and got busted breaking out.
Stupid.
Now those things did happen.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
They did happen.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things about when I try to, speak about this stuff or send evidence that it's a video just of me speaking, is that it sounds crazy. The situation with Ryan Woods, nobody's gonna fucking believe that unless somebody looks at it. And I try to go to the police.
Well, for starters, he was involved in killing one of my friends, and then
Chad Kephart,
and then went out and went on a crime spree with another dude.
Seth Jordan.
No, it was
I thought it was Seth that was in the vehicle when he went into the. No, that was
Seth. It was what's it? Taylor is his name.
I have a recording with him when he got out. He was like, I was in the car and he was driving around and I was telling him to let me out and he wouldn't. And then he crashed and I was sick.
He was part of it. He was involved in it. I saw the video. But he claimed that he wasn't, that he was a victim.
Well, when I was in...
He was doing it to get drugs.
When I was in Helping Hands, I was there for 5 days and I was in a room with that guy.
Yeah, Taylor's weird.
Not him.
Ryan?
With Ryan.
Yeah, he's weird too.
Like, I'd have thought with everything that he did, they said that there was like over $500,000 worth of damage with all the stuff that he had done and being involved in Chad Kephart's death and the situation with Dora.
No one investigated his death as what it was. It's fentanyl overdose and left it at that.
Have you ever seen me do any quote-unquote drugs other than tobacco or marijuana?
No.
I'm not even sure if I've ever smoked pot in front of you.
Yeah, we smoked weed together once.
All right. I wasn't sure.
I brought a bowl. Because weed keeps me calm.
It makes things worse for me, but it didn't always. I used to use it for social anxiety disorder. But it was a situation where I couldn't just take a consistent medication for it. I grew up in the system. I grew up with people who they invite you into their room and then a bunch of people stand in the doorway so you can't get out. So, I mean, I've also been in situations where people much bigger than me in foster homes wanted to close my door on me and do whatever the hell that they wanted. So, that's scary shit for me. And you got to see also, and I could be wrong about this. I just want to make sure you're the one that I was showing it to. The assault by Will and Lolatai in the hospital where they
Oh
twisted
yeah,
my arm
yeah,
up.
that made no sense. Like, like you weren't doing anything. You were just laying there. So there's no reason for that officer to yank you off into the ground and slam you around like that.
He's one. I'm going to post up a link in this too because there's actually a list of investigators. There's one in Colorado that this stuff needs to go to. His name is Skylar Watson, and he is not associated with any of the departments that were involved. That's why it's supposed to be going to him. And then he's supposed to distribute it to the different departments that it's supposed to go to. That way it is verified through law enforcement.
Chain of evidence.
Yeah. And then in Nebraska, the person that we're supposed to talk to, her name is, it used to be Sergeant Jones, Nebraska State Patrol Troop E. However, she's been promoted and moved to a new department, but because of the case holdover, she is still the contact point. She was supposed to meet me to investigate crimes committed by Scott Costa, his deputies, and also with several other government employees that were involved in the situation. Instead, the day that she was supposed to see me to come collect all of the evidence, what ended up happening is I got physically assaulted by a man who was on the Nebraska sex offender registry. He was also friends with Leslie Snell, who was the Sheriff Scott Costa's secretary. She got the job after her husband was implicated in death threats against my life and my family's life. And the guy who implicated him was his own brother, Carl. I thought Carl was somebody else because small towns, different people from different families look alike, and he looked real heavily like somebody from the Frericks family. But he wasn't. And I did message people like I was, telling you before. I'm supposed to go to a friend or family member first. I went to every person who told me that they were my friend when these things happened, and you can see, like with the stuff I was showing you with the messages from Claire from just that one phone, all of those literally dozens of crimes that I was showing you yesterday that were committed against me. You got to hear those things with your own ears, the stuff from Mossum and all that other crap. And she never once, through any of that, tried to understand we have to turn it in right away. She claimed she was mandatory reporter trained. She claimed that when stuff happened to her or happened to these girls, that she's claiming there's like a massive rape epidemic in Estes Park, Colorado. Like she had on 7 different occasions in 1 week, she had to not keep her word to help me because somebody else got raped. So I don't know if I believe her. It's really hard to believe her when every time she's gonna, like most people, if you look on the list of caregivers, that would be page 2. Are under great stress. This may be due to financial, marital, or work problems, a recent decline in health, or loss of a loved one, have a history of mental illness such as depression, mental disabilities, or abuse alcohol or other drugs. And also the part with people, expressing any concerns you may have right away. Keep notes of the conversations. These are things that I'm also supposed to, and I got a list of this stuff too. Things that I'm supposed to look out for when going to mandatory reporters. If you tell a mandatory reporter that a crime is being committed against you, whether it be a police officer, a nurse, a doctor, paid clergy, or teachers, people like that, and I have the list. Oh, police officers as well, and jail employees. So if they don't, what the lawyers told me, not public pretenders, what the lawyers told me is record everything. When it comes to trying to turn in abuse, you are a disabled adult, you are on disability. So no person may have the right or expectation to privacy when it comes to abuse against children, the elderly, or the disabled. So yeah, there's nothing that they can do to stop me from recording, especially when they're literally sending me to people who physically assaulted me to turn them in for physically assaulting me to themselves. I have the recordings over and over
That's
of that.
stupid.
It is. I had to turn in Kylie at TFCC. You know, the stuff I was showing you from Kylie that I had sent, and it turned out to be a landline. Then they wanted to pretend that I was threatening to kill her. Yeah, I have the recordings with her. I have the recordings with a whole lot of people. Like, they wanted to continue to play in the. I should show you the stuff from TFCC
You're the
sent my
aggressor.
attorney. Yeah. They are highly aggressive. Oh my god! And in the jail, like there's a few guys that they use that if you are trying to turn in a deputy or a police officer, that's the police officer they're gonna have arrest you, and that's the
I have a
deputy they're
question.
gonna use to fuck with
When
you.
I had the seizures in the jail, how was I treated? Because I don't have any memory of any of
Oh,
that.
well, I'm gonna need this back, but you're in here. I wrote that shit down. I they were treating it like you were faking it, and they were making some jokes. I did scream at them a couple of times, and I also tried to talk to you, not that you knew what the fuck was going on. One of those times you were foamy, and the other time you weren't. It looked like you were having petite malls, not grand malls. Um, the your eyes started rolling back a bit. Your pupils were not dilating correctly. One of them was dilating weird, and the other one was sort of trying to look like it was adjusting. But I was in 904 for one of those instances, so you were literally like right in front of me. Um, there was also another one where I believe they were trying to put you into 904 and you started having an issue. In both of those instances, I was definitely yelling at them, and in both of those instances, they did make sure that you were released and went to the hospital. Um, yeah, I probably cursed a little bit.
How long did it go on for?
A while. One of those seizures lasted about 20 to 25 minutes before they actually got someone there.
So I remember just waking up in the hospital.
Yeah.
I went to the hospital, and no one told me why I was in there. Anything. My memory stopped at being arrested in the cop car.
Well, I have, like I said, there's a bunch of stuff in here. This is the one from Deputy Taylor where he verifies that the Natalie Bollinger thing is true. If you notice, it says July 29th of 2024. It's stamped by the court. I got a bunch of those stamped by the court. So they were aware before we ever went to trial that what they were claiming were delusions were not, in fact, delusions. Some of the people that were coordinating with Andrew Wolnez are friends of the Bollinger family and some of their fake accounts. And I got a lot of evidence to go through. Obviously, 28,000 pictures just
Why don't you
on
sue
this
them?
computer alone.
And me for defamation of character.
I can't do anything unless people verify this and turn it in with me. Everybody wants to ask me, why don't you sue?
I didn't
Why
know
don't
if you
you sue?
tried that or not. I didn't know.
Everybody does that, and that eats up a lot of time. I always end up with the situation where I'm like, yeah, suing is fine, but I don't have any money. And then it gets into the argument of pro bono lawyers. That's called a public pretender, and they don't work for shit. In order to get an actual pro bono lawyer, I did have one in Nebraska who was going to take on my case before Natalie was killed. And what he told me is to record everything and write it down. And even if I talk to my mother about the case, I need to write it down and I need to record it. I need to keep a document or keep it written documentation. And I did that. Unfortunately, the people that I was staying with were drug dealers who were taking advantage of my disability money. I was only there because the people in Nebraska before Natalie died were telling me that I had to go to the Front Range of Colorado to turn in the threats, harassment, and assaults. All the fake accounts that they were making and sending me. They were making them in my friends' names. They made an account pretending to be Andrew Wolnez's mom just last week. Yeah. They've also made multiple accounts pretending to be my niece's grandma. The stuff that I showed you where they were threatening to dismember my niece and send pictures They're cocking her open gutted rib cage and calling me all of those racist names. Last night I was going through the videos that I had sent Claire, which is a different set altogether, and holy shit. Like, you know how it says to go to a friend or family member right away? And mind you, I've got a bunch of these too against my attorneys. I've got inmates who wrote written reports because the cops weren't fucking listening. I've got evidence that the floor deputies checked the phones with one of my attorneys because I wasn't able to contact her because she had blocked my number. She lied in court and claimed that that wasn't true, and Lieutenant Silvera went right along with that. He said that he and her were going to work together. Obviously, I'd been trying to turn in Lieutenant Silvera since the repeated assaults and improper use of restraints. Like, that shit ain't gonna fly. It isn't okay to assault somebody for trying to turn in police officers and deputies. These are these things with Natalie delusions?
No.
And here's one of the pieces of paper that I had to have. I got 6 different verifications over a month and a half period that show that, and this is one of them, that show that very clearly, I did tell the truth about that. That the deputies that were on the floor verified by sticking their ears to the telephone to listen. And yes, the number is blocked. That woman also told me that she wasn't a mandatory reporter, and that if she was a mandatory reporter, she wouldn't do that job. And the fact is, in the state of Oregon, yes, those attorneys are mandatory reporters. When I told them about the physical assaults in the jail over the situation, over the Natalie Bollinger situation, and how important it was, like, they blew me off like it didn't matter. The thing is that I do know my legal rights. When I was in Colorado, I had to know a lot of shit, and I was a volunteer, so it didn't matter what education I had. I didn't have the letters behind my name, but I knew what to look out for. And this is one of the things where people want to interrupt me and start telling me what different cops are saying. Well, I already know that stuff. I've caught them doing it. The other thing is, when they start telling me that stuff, it's something where we're actually getting off topic, although it is important, and they are important details, because like I said, it's not just me. This is a public safety issue. What the police have done is put victims in a situation where they can't get out. All they can do is waste all of their time and all of their money. And I'm disabled. I can't do that. I don't have the ability to do those things. Now you got to see what's underneath my bed. What's in these 3 crates? Fucking paperwork. Yeah. I also moved a bunch of the stuff off of there so you can see that that crate's full of paperwork. Although some more of the paperwork that was in there, I pulled out and set over here to show you. I do have one of the other issues was sending stuff to Shelly. So Russell was supposed to be helping me, and they cut him off and sent him to another part, and then stuck me with Shelly, who literally hasn't done anything. And then I had to try to turn Shelly in, and Melissa and all the rest of them started playing head games and pretending to be stupid. And if we listen to the videos in order, which is about probably 6 hours worth of listening, so we'd basically be here all day, or 2 half days listening to that crap. But you'll be able to hear how they were pretending that they helped me with this mandatory reporter stuff, and how obviously they were not communicating with each other what they were claiming to be saying to each other. The lady who was supposed to be making sure that the new guy who's kind of in charge of the place, his name is Sean Hubert, she would make sure that Sean Hubert made sure they do what they're supposed to as far as mandatory reporter goes. And then I called again because she'd never gotten back a hold of me. I called her back again, and I was sent to Sean Hubert. Sean Hubert claimed that he didn't know anything about it, and that they'd already done something, and that Russell had made that call with me. I'm like, I've talked to her since then, first of all. And second of all, no, Russell did not make that call with me. He made the call, and it started in the call, and then he decided that he wanted to hang up and we'll try it another time. He said we were supposed to do it in just a couple of days, and that was months ago. And the thing is that the lady who I'm supposed to get a hold of, who's the director, her name is, hold on a second, let me try to remember, Marie, I think. I don't remember her last name, but it's in some of my videos. And she's on vacation for a few months. This is another very common tactic. So the things that he was trying to bully me about in those recordings are things that, if you listen to the recordings with her and you listen to them, in order, you realize that they're just lying out their asses. Either they're not communicating the things that they say they are, or he's outright lying about not being told those things. At Care, I gave, oh, could you grab that? I gave Shelly a package of the papers from TFCC, and the deal was that she had to go over that paperwork with me, and that I was going to record it. And she agreed to that, and she took that paperwork, and then she literally went out of her way to make sure that anytime I brought it up, she changed her mind. There's also the stuff with the housing, which they've been, instead of doing the advocacy that the paperwork there clearly says I'm supposed to be going to them for, they claim they only advocate for housing. All of them. TFCC claim that. TCCHC claim that. I got recording after recording with them. Yeah, exactly.
What?
Well, it's just like the stuff yesterday. You shake your head like that, and then I show it to you, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, as far as the jail diary goes, there's a lot in here. Another thing is, I wanted to show you the actual psychological evaluations that I had, so that you're aware that what I'm telling you about that is true. I'll also show you the paperwork from TFCC that Miss Shelley, when I went in to get my file, this is literally what they gave me. And there is just my intake forms. That's it. Just intake forms. It's all intake forms and nothing else. And these are actually the copies of the intake forms, obviously. So, that's all they gave me. The papers.
So they gave you proof that they've done nothing.
Yes, exactly. There was literally nothing else in it. Russell lied out his fucking ass at me. Shelley lied her ass out at me. Sean Hubert lied his ass out at me, and so did Marie. So the thing is that the TFCC folks, I had to turn in Kylie from TFCC for pretending that I was threatening her and for refusing to investigate, for making excuses, for basically bullying me. And there's a lot of videos where people bully me, and people say, "Oh, Sean, are you sure? Are you sure?" I'm like, we could argue about this for 45 minutes, or you could watch the video. One of the things I was telling you yesterday is that I had recorded literally hundreds of conversations with witnesses. I'll actually show you. Obviously, these are the assaults. This is in Chapel, Nebraska, while I was at my grandma's funeral, and Natalie's dad, that fucking disgusting pervert, was on Alicia Bollinger's account harassing me. These ones right here, just me talking about the situation with me and Natalie and how it got started. This one's about suicide prevention. And then we get started on a shit ton of witnesses. This is Alyssa Rainwater right here. This one is Russell Huggins. I put the numbers down at the bottom to denote the date that it happened. I wasn't expecting, when I made the channel, that it was going to, 7 years ago. I didn't expect that 7 years later, people would still be pretending that these conversations are delusions. Let's see. Here's the one with Ben Beardsley. This is with Brandon Ratner. This is with Brett Roloff. He was involved in the Natalie situation both before and after Natalie was killed. Alyssa Rainwater was a 911 operator. She actually talks about she was going through Amanda Jonas, who is one of the police officers. They lied to the hospital and had me just like the thing with Waylon Lolatai, they did the exact same thing. One of the officers in Natalie's case, before Natalie was killed, who was supposed to be investigating for stalking and talked to me about stalking, his name was Officer Burke. Him and he was released from that department and started working for Longmont. So him and Amanda Jonas and one other officer took part in taking me to the hospital, claiming that they were taking me somewhere where I could safely make a report and show my evidence. Instead, they took me in on suicide watch. The hospital held me for about 20 hours. Apparently, at some point in there, they gave me a protection order, which it's illegal as fuck because I was injected with fucking sedatives. I didn't know what the fuck was even going on. That's illegal as shit.
You're in
Yeah.
diminished capacity.
They did that repeatedly. They also arrested me, and then my predators in the Bollinger family, just like the situation with Leslie Snell, they used the criminal charges that they had no evidence of to make sure that I was locked up and couldn't go to court when these people got civil court dates against me for protection orders. These people, like the Bollinger family, they did the same thing that Andrew Wolnez did, the same thing that they did in Nebraska. They basically take their time and fucking go around and tell everybody you're schizophrenic and delusional so nobody will believe you.
Easy work. This stuff is still happening.
Yeah. Well, see, you're verifying the stuff that's still happening because you get to see the stuff that's still happening, and I keep posting stuff on my YouTube that it's happening. But part of the reason for making the videos is to show that we're actually making the effort, that this isn't some plan to go fucking murder people in their sleep and hack people up because some evil alien unicorn is telling us to do that shit. This isn't some schizophrenic delusion.
No.
And they keep pretending that it is, long after they were well aware, and the evidence shows that they were well aware. This right here shows the hospital was aware of the abuse and neglect on November 19th of 2022. So the police kept on pretending that Natalie Bollinger was a delusion. When they claimed that they were going to investigate, they didn't actually send an investigator to actually investigate. What they sent is somebody to tell me that Natalie's case was adjudicated, so they couldn't do anything about it, and they weren't allowed to hear anything about it because it happened in another state. And then when I said, well, people are assaulting me in this state over it, well, why would they do that? And then she also wanted to tell me over and over and over again that she was stuck on overtime and that she didn't have a lot of time and she was really in a hurry and she really just wanted to get home and just made me feel like shit, eating up so much time by telling me that she doesn't have time. Also, she wanted to
devaluing you.
Yeah. Another thing is Enoch's a fucking dick to people who are called mentally ill, and there's a lot of people who like him. Seth likes him. Seth was telling me that, Seth Jordan was telling me that Deputy Enoch was his Pee-wee football coach.
He's a liar and a thief.
Yeah, I heard that from
When I
a
first
lot of
met
different
him,
people.
he broke into my tent while I was sleeping, and Gucci bit him and then drugged me out of my tent backwards. I was asleep, through the tent after him.
Well, I got a few recordings with Seth. He just keeps taking advantage of me. He said that he understood what we're doing. He also said that he understands that I don't do drugs, and he came in here and sat literally right where you're sitting and fucking pulled out his piff and started fucking, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Whoa.
I was nice about it, and he put it away, and he didn't do it again. But
Still the audacity.
Yeah, he also, I gave him $40 for help, and he was going to make a written statement, and he took a notepad that had literally months of notes in it. He took that notepad so he could make a written statement, and he was going to bring it right back in 30 minutes, and he never brought that back. So then he wanted to come over and borrow a pot for cooking in. So when I got him the pot for cooking in, I told him, all right, I'm going to let you use this in exchange for you bringing my notepad back. the deal was he can use the pot in exchange for my notepad first. But he took the pot, went over to what's his name, Gary's place or
Greg.
whatever. Greg.
That's my
When-
cousin.
Yeah, he went over to Greg's with my fucking cooking pot.
He's not
and-
allowed over at Greg's.
Well, maybe not anymore, but he was at the time. This is about a month ago, month and a half
Yeah.
now. But he never brought my fucking cooking pot back. I'm like, dude, do you have any idea how much a pressure cooker costs?
Yeah.
So I got the lid for it, but not the pressure cooker. He never brought that back, and he never brought my notepad back. And it had fucking 2 other handwritten statements in it. It had a whole bunch of, people's email addresses for the officers. Oh, what I was telling you earlier, the officer in Colorado is, her name is Lieutenant Jones, Troop B, Nebraska. So I did have somebody who was going to help me to turn that in about a week ago, I guess, 2 weeks ago, but she didn't keep her word to be here or he didn't keep his word to be here on that particular time and date. He didn't bother to look at or go over any of the evidence. He was a no-call, no-show, and like that's the thing, is instead of people arguing with me about what police who are breaking the law told them, we have to turn in the evidence that they committed crimes against me because I actually recorded it. And somebody has to verify it. Somebody also has to know that I'm telling the truth, not just believe me, because they're going to have to speak up.
Mhm.
I have the right as a disabled person to have somebody there with me for any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're going to be listening to some Natalie Bollinger stuff. If I have to leave during some of these segments, you're going to get to see when we're watching them with the stuff that you've already seen. You'll be able to tell that they literally lied through the whole fucking thing. But I'm going to also show you all of the messages between Natalie and I so that you know, when they were taken out of context, what context they were in. Like, for example, when she said that I couldn't go to her house when I was in Virginia, she also explained why. It was also after I got to Virginia that she told me that. So the other thing is, when she was accusing me of stalking her, we're going to read her last public post. I'll show you the parts where she claimed that we never dated. And then I'll show you the part where the supposed autism advocate is supposed to be helping me, who was posting up stuff in Natalie Bollinger groups and trying to get people to help to destroy my Facebook. That's illegal as shit. She posed as a mental health professional, and then she was giving out personal information and lying and slandering me in these fucking Facebook groups. And for months, I was
Natalie
working
was?
with her. No, this is a woman named Rochelle Shelley Campbell. So she was able to claim from all the way in Texas that I had dated Natalie Bollinger. And yeah, so that shit was put in my court date. There was nothing I could do about it. They wouldn't allow me to go to my civil court dates because I was locked up on criminal charges. And then because of that, my predators got to win their civil court dates because I wasn't there, despite the fact that the officers knew that I was incarcerated. Everybody involved, including the judge, knew that I was incarcerated. Another thing they tried to do so they could win no matter what is that they tried to set it up so that they could have a civil court date, one of them in Adams County and one of them in Arapahoe County, on the same day at the same time. So that no matter what, one of the ex-stepmothers did it through Arapahoe County, and the other ex-stepmother that got busted tried doing it through, one of them through Adams County and one of them through Arapahoe County. I was prevented from going to both court dates. One of them, they were transferring me from the Boulder County Jail, where I was being held for Arapahoe County. And that was for a crime I actually committed. I did light a fire. I admit it. It was necessary and people's lives were in danger. It fucking sucked. But it's kind of like that little girl who fucking cuts on herself when nobody's listening to her. It's not that she's cutting herself for attention. She's trying to bring attention to what's going on. She's not being heard. That's why she's doing desperate stuff.
And her mother's a fuck up.
Yeah, that too.
That girl's retarded. Like, literally. Doesn't know how to cross the street. I teach her how to walk across the road.
Yeah, when I was showing you some of that
It's
stuff
sad.
for the Rex stepmothers, I barely got started. I mean, there is so much with them. They pretended that they wanted to be my friend. They were going to help me to turn this in. Her mother, her ex stepmothers, both of them, Natalie Bollinger, Alicia Bollinger, all of them. I have either recordings or text messages or YouTube messages or Facebook messages, all talking about how afraid of Ted Bollinger they are and why. There's also multiple situations where they pretended that they were being harmed by Ted Bollinger to try to basically stage an incident where the police could come and harass who I was staying with. And I'll show you the stuff with Candace Bonder on so that you understand how long it's been going on.
Oh, I got an idea. It's been going on for almost a decade.
Yeah. So, with you reading this, I don't think we're going to have time to do a whole lot of stuff other than that. Unless you're willing to stick around for a few more hours, because I mean, I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. I have to go through this stuff, sort it out, and of course, make sure everything gets brought back in here. And if I can't bring it back in here, keep it rain covered. If you're planning on coming back tomorrow, I want to utilize some of the time that you're here today to make sure that it's covered and make sure that there's room in here where you can actually help to work and sort and organize the way that you're best able to. And also, like I said, I'm not going to actually pay you for going down to Fred Meyer's with me to get you a telephone, but I will buy you a telephone in order to help me with this. So that I, for example, like it says, when I'm abused, I need to call a friend or family member right away. I'm going to show you probably hundreds of recordings. I'm not going to make you listen to all of them, just the most recent ones and the ones at the beginning, and any of them in between that you want verification on. We'll listen to those too. I know that some of these folks are your friends, but I'm also absolutely
Impartial.
certain that you're
If they're doing
aware.
something wrong, they're doing it wrong.
I'm not out to hurt people. I'm not out to destroy people's
Doesn't matter if
lives.
they're doing something wrong to you, they need to pay for that. It needs to end.
The other part is when I say that I did break the law, I can show you in so many situations where law enforcement was trying to entrap me by telling me to do things that are illegal. Before we get into the description of that, because I know what I showed you yesterday and explained to you, it was, one of those fuck, I'm trying not to have a severe panic attack and I'm trying not to fucking blow up in Brian's face while he's talking to me. At least he's not a bitch and he's not afraid of being recorded. You're an asshole, I'll give you that, but you're a lot nicer now than you were before. You're also more able to comprehend things. You're less argumentative. Do we blame the seizures for that?
Could be.
Here's some with my dad, who
Less
is now
stressors
dead.
on my plate.
Hmm?
Less stressors on my plate.
Yes, sir. We don't have a notepad and pen. We've got plenty of them handy. Today is just the organizational part of it and the making sure that we read the instructions and try to follow the instructions. Also, I'm probably going to try to rapid fire stuff like I did for part of yesterday. You know how for part of it I was just showing it to you and telling you we're going to go through it later, but it's a long video and it's going to take a while. But I was showing you the actual evidence, like the one with Mossum threatening to kill me, threatening to stab me to death, cocking the fucking firearm, and all that. That's the thing is, it's an audio, so you can't see the firearm. There's also, I started writing stuff down on cue cards because it works really well. One of the problems that I've been having with the cue cards, though, is that I end up getting them lost because there's too much in here. By the time I get somebody to show up, for example, the lady I was telling you about that was supposed to help me yesterday, day before yesterday, maybe now. Um, she did get a hold of me last night and told me that she was stuck in the mountains without service. And I'm not going to call her a liar on that. I've been in the mountains. There's no fucking service, which is weird because you can still call 911.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know when I was in the mountains, or I'd have called 911 when them little bastards threw a cup of gasoline on me. A whole fucking Pepsi cup full of gasoline.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Racist ass KKK town. This is with Christine Buhit. She's dead, but there's quite a few with her. She's one of the people who was going to help me after Natalie was killed. She was a friend from before Natalie was killed. Oh, Darren O'Connor, the one that I was showing you, the famous attorney now. I've got multiple calls with him. This one is Christopher Tapp. He fucking assaulted the shit out of me right after Natalie was killed because he drank a whole bottle of Jameson. Then later on, he wanted to claim he only had one drink. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah, one drink. It's not the whole bottle.
This one says dumbasses. It's probably me talking about how no reasonable human being is going to think this stupid delusional shit. But we're not dealing with reasonable human beings. We're dealing with people who fucked up and are trying to hide it.
Yeah, they're incompetent.
Yeah, before Natalie was killed, they were definitely incompetent. Afterwards, since there's a potential for prison, that's not incompetence.
That's fair.
Yeah, they're absolutely committing felonies to hide their crimes because they're afraid of going to jail and or prison. This is Graham Milborn. He wanted to talk about Jesus instead of telling me about Jesus, making arguments about Jesus because he's in some weird, obscure fucking part of the Lutheran church. And I'm like, fuck. Man, that fucking sucks. He was reading the New International Version. I'm like, man, there ain't even no goddamn unicorns in that book. Yeah. And then people treat me like I'm a piece of shit. And I'm like, all right, well, let's take a look. We got Job chapter 39, verse 9. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee or abide by thy crib? And verse 10, canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valleys after thee? So a lot of people like to use the Bible to give me a bunch of obscure bullshit, kind of like slave owners in the South wanted to say, well, there's instructions for owning slaves in the Bible, so it's okay to own slaves. God said so. Sorry, I didn't mean to spit on your dog. I'm sorry, Gucci. I was also complaining a little bit because you said it would definitely be less than half an hour, and it was a little over.
Well, as quick as I could. I don't like getting time frames because I can't account for them.
Usually when I have an issue with somebody, I'll approach it the way that we're taught since we're little kids. You're supposed to talk to them and tell them what they're doing that hurts you and how it makes you feel. And you talk to them nicely. Many people wanted to tell me, oh, this takes time, this takes time, this takes time. Then when they wanted something down, they're like, take it down now. I'm like, it don't work that way.
It takes time.
It takes time. Yeah. Like, if you're going to fucking lie to me and waste my time, you're going to get to see that even though I told every single one of these people, I need a friend or family member to turn it in with me, not for me.
Don't.
The instructions that I got from the attorney for turning it in safely are the same rules that I've had since a kid. Safety in numbers. The buddy system. The problem is having to depend on Seth, who doesn't come through. I bought Pun and Tiffany a telephone because they're supposed to help me to turn this stuff in.
Them fake ass motherfuckers.
Tiffany was supposed to start helping me 3 days ago. I gave them $40 for them to
Yeah, she
pay
went and
for
got
food and
powder.
gas, possibly, but I'm not going to speculate.
No, I know for a fact you did. I watched you do it.
I can believe that. They said that they had to take Pun to the hospital in Portland and that he had
She
an
did.
appointment that day and the next day.
That's true.
Yep. So I gave him money for
But she still
food.
went and bought powder, and then had no money and had to go fly a sign.
I also gave her,
You want water?
I bought the telephone and gave it to her, and she said as soon as they got it hooked up that they were going to call me, and they didn't.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Here's your water. Here. No, you're gonna pay all around.
Also, I know that I told you that I've made angry videos after encountering you on multiple occasions. If you feel like actually listening to those videos, you're aware of the situation more now, and I'm sure you're aware of why I'm frustrated. If you want to listen to those, that's fine. I'm sure, anybody who wants to be a douchebag will probably fucking harass you or ask you about it anyway.
I'm not worried about it.
All right.
No one bothers me.
Also, with the thing with Scott Brown, now my argument, even though they gave me paperwork saying that he's got over 70 aliases and this claims that he's a registered sex offender, in my personal opinion, I think Benjamin Fishberg fucked up big on this.
Yeah.
Another thing is, just like with Andrew Womez, with people offering to beat his ass, or on multiple occasions when he violated the protection order in front of David and Jennifer, I had to stop them from going and physically assaulting him. Get in front of them to prevent them from physically assaulting him. I'm like, that's not what I'm after. If you guys are going and assaulting him for me, that's definitely illegal as fuck.
Yeah.
But both of them were also telling me, well, I can't go to the police. I got a warrant. And then when their warrants were taken care of, oh, I can't go to police because of my history, or so on and so forth. David even was trying to fucking sell pills to somebody over by the U.S. bank while I was pulling money out of the ATM. I'm like, man, this fucking sucks. But he carried my stuff and he made sure that I was safe. And just like when you walked with me, when you were saying nobody's gonna fuck with me while you're with me, Photius was literally parked right across the street. When he tried to run me over at the Shell station, that was fucking played off very nonchalant. I also was trying to find a video, because I know that there was a video, I think I saw it on Facebook, but I don't have access to my Facebook. But it might have been on YouTube. And it's a video of somebody pulling a gas and go over there at the Shell station, on the south or the north pump. And right next to that, if you've got cameras from the angle that I saw, that camera will show John Photius trying to run me over with a Chevy pickup, and it says FOSHESS right on the driver's side window, because it's a fucking quad cab. So the guy who works there, Israel, told me that they don't have cameras that do that, and I want to find that video, because you'd think that they would have it specifically for the purpose of people who do the gas and go.
Right.
If you're fucking injured or harmed or killed or fucking, God forbid, kidnapped on their property, if there's no cameras out there to see that, they've literally just done everything they can to make their customers unsafe. I've also got the recordings where I went in and they told me that they couldn't give me the cameras, that the police had to come and get it. The same thing that Fred Myers told me. The same thing that the people at Denny's told me. The same thing that the people at Starbucks told me. Multiple locations where I've been assaulted The library told me that they don't have any cameras on the parking lot, which I wouldn't expect them to. It's
They
across
do.
the street. They do?
Mhm.
Well, I've got multiple recordings,
And there's
and
a house right there behind it that has cameras pointing right over there.
I'm talking about the one that's across the street from the
Yeah,
library.
there's a camera pointing right over there.
All right. Well, David, who was running the library at the time, told me that they
That
don't.
guy's a piece of shit.
I'm not going to say my opinion because it's not much better. I went to him repeatedly about, like, most of the assaults that I endured is because every agency here, the police, TFCC, all of them said, "Have you tried the library? You should go to the library." So I went to the library. And where did most of the assaults happen? The place that I was the most, the library. Where did most of the vandalism happen? The place I was the most, the library. When I was in the library working on the stuff that I needed to, I wasn't able to watch my car. So I'd get back down to my car and I'm like, well, that's some bullshit. Then I got the recordings of the shit that they were throwing at my car. The people down on the corner right across the street from the Lutheran church.
Mm-hmm.
So both the husband and the wife were witnesses to Andrew Wolniz's son and his friends driving by my vehicle. The husband saw them driving by my vehicle and threw a Dutch Brothers cup at it. They also threw full cans of soup through my back window that bounced off my dash. The lady who lives there, and obviously I'm not using their names, it's something that we can write down.
I know them.
But yeah, they've always been super nice.
Yeah,
to
they're
me.
good people.
They made sure that I had Thanksgiving dinner. They have, at least the husband has spoken to me on multiple occasions about the fucking crack house over there and how bad it is. I also spoke up about with Will Chappell trying to claim that they demolished that garage a block down because of homeless people.
No, it's because it was falling down. But Janet used to let people stay in there.
Well, Carol's a super nice lady. She's
Carol,
always talked to
Carol,
me.
yeah. Janet, Carol.
Yeah, Janet's the lady who got kicked out of. Was it number 7 over there?
Yeah.
I don't know if she was nice or not. I just know that she introduced herself more than once and that she was real chatty. If that doesn't sound like an oxy-friggin' moron. So, I guess now that you've seen what we're doing and helped to get started on it, you understand that part of it is verifying it and making sure that for our safety, we post our intent.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if we say that we're going to turn in, let's say we're trying to turn in the police officers for the crimes they committed, if we state it, loud and proud that that's what we're doing, and then we go in and we get assaulted, at least there's evidence that our intention was not what they played off.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the lady that I was talking about yesterday, I'm still trying to keep her name private and safe. I do have a video that I do want to play for you before you leave. That way you know that what I was saying is true. I'm also going to show you the messages with her so that you know that what I had to say about the situation is true. She did let me know about her own family issues. And also, since people will basically have to guess who it is that I'm talking about, it's hopefully not going to make her a target the way that you might potentially be targeted. Hopefully you don't get fucked.
I'm not worried about it.
All right. I'm going to remember you said that.
I'm not worried about it. Unless you target me.
The situation with the situation with Chad Kephart. I got to hear a lot of different stories about him, but I didn't know him. Like, I don't remember meeting the guy. I might have once or twice, but I doubt it.
He was always in jail.
Also, I have handwritten stuff. You got to see the one from Caitlin Thompson. There's also from Ernie Chacon. Also from God, what's that guy? Colby. Polifka. God, I can't fucking speak
Orange
today.
Cone is my cousin.
Hmm?
Orange Cone's my cousin.
Him and his brother were both real nice to me.
Yeah, Alex.
Is that his twin brother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His brother seems sober.
They both are.
They're both sober now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he told me at the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was making a big loud noise in there about being in jail with me. I was like, anybody else would get embarrassed. I am so fucking lucky I'm autistic. And I did show you at least one verification of the autism thing. But I figure if you want to, let's see, how long is this video? 2 hours and 5 minutes. So I still owe you, because you spent probably a half an hour helping me move stuff. And you also went and got me something to drink. I still owe you $20. If you want to fucking take a break for dinner while I run and get the rest of your money out of the bank.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but the agreement is I'm not paying you to lie for me. I'm
No,
paying
you're
you
not.
to look at evidence
Right.
and verify it and turn it in with me.
Correct.
Also, the situation with Andrew Wolnez and many of the other predators who have harmed me and attacked me over this, the intent in showing what they did is not that they should all be in trouble, although some of them very definitely should be. The point is the improper response by first responders, the improper response by mandatory reporters.
Yeah, if you get arrested for misuse of 911 for trying to report someone assaulting you, that's bullshit.
Yes, sir. Now, verifying this stuff that I was able to record outside of court, and they actually busted themselves with their own paperwork. That's something I'm going to show you with the stuff from Catherine Cias and Mary. Fuck, I can't remember her last name at the moment. I've got all of their pictures. I took them off of the internet, so it's not like I had to walk around and stalk people at their houses to take pictures. They're in fucking news article after news article, so it's easy. I can show you the very specific officers like David Martinez, who that first day over at Ryan Woods when I went over there to see you like you told me to. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right.
Yeah. So when I said that you had told me to go to Nicole at the Seventh Day Adventist, and I spoke to Nicole, and she sent me to you.
Yeah.
And then you sent me to Ryan Woods, where you were supposed to be staying. You had just moved in. Is that correct? Also, Ryan Woods does exist.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
That's not a delusion.
No.
Yeah, so you don't need to see all the news articles of that because you got to see those when they happened.
Yeah.
You also were very intimately, knowledgeable about the situation with those people. Obviously, you've spoken about several things that nobody else, that, most people aren't aware of.
Yeah.
The situation with Dora and the Chad thing, I had at least 3 people who were claiming to be there tell me that was the situation. And I also had 2 people that weren't there tell me that you did it. Which
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was told that also, that you weren't there.
No.
You can't blame Brian, he wasn't there. I'm like, well, I'm listening to both sides because somebody's fucking dead.
Yeah, and that still bothers me.
Yeah, I was told that they were laughing at him when he died, and Dora stepped over him and said
dead bird, is what she said to him. That makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, apparently they also told him that it was meth, and
she told him it was meth.
So he held it in and then died. Yeah.
And Ryan ordered to have all the Narcan removed by Alex. Right next door to 911. There's no reason for anyone to have died there. No reason. It's bullshit.
Well,
and Rock Seth kept breaking into the house after that.
Seth Jordan, or
no,
the one
who's
schizophrenic as all fuck?
The schizophrenic one. He was there. He kept breaking in. My dog snatched him right through the fucking window.
He doesn't scare me like a lot of people tell me they're scared of him. I'm not scared of him in the least bit.
No, he
Because
might
if
just
I
steal all your
start
stuff.
talking to him, he'll start turning around and talking to literally a tree or a wall.
Yeah, or a rock.
Or a rock. Yeah,
I watched him make out with a rock.
I believe it. I really do. Um, the thing is, you know a lot of these people. You know a lot of their quirks. You haven't gotten to know me as well as I'd like to have get to know people, but I've been in a fucking state of panic over stuff that people been pretending is a delusion. And that's the important part with these different government agencies. I can prove to you that they were aware before the fact and that they continued to play it off and still continue to play it off to this day. I've also been cut off from any sort of medical resources here because of the lies that were told by Deputy Boyd, Lieutenant Silvera, Deputy Moody, and Deputy Mike Reeves to the hospital workers. The hospital workers treated me like I was there because I was some violent criminal who was stalking the 13-year-old niece of somebody who worked at the hospital and a bunch of crazy shit like that. They put me on a civil hold, violated all of my rights of a civil hold, and John Holland said that they were not allowed to that I wasn't allowed to have access to my phone because it would only feed into my delusions. Yeah, this is the same guy who he got to listen to the court order that I was supposed to send this stuff to their investigator. He's the one in specific who gave me the number to the investigator that ended up just being a landline when they claimed that they got an anonymous call that one of my videos was threatening Kylie's life. Well, after I sent all of those things and gave those examples, literally screenshots of examples, the reason I say examples is because it's only one threat or several threats out of thousands of threats. It's not like I'm going to be able to send every single one. But also, I got to scroll down through my, photos yesterday with 28,000 of them. It's pretty obvious it's going to take a while to go through it. You also got to see that there's over 8,100 videos on my other channel that I don't have access to. And there's over 400 videos that have information that's so sensitive that they're made private. Also, the little mini KKK meeting, did I show you that video? Okay. I can show that to you right now. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go get dinner. I'm going to go get some money. I'm going to turn off the recording because obviously if we're
disembarking.
Yep. Also, when we listen to a lot of these videos or a lot of the recordings, because they might have phone numbers in them, including mine or possibly even yours or other people's. When we hear those videos and they have a phone number in them, if it's super important, we got to figure out a way to basically bleep out the phone number. If we're not able to do that, or it's going to take too much time, we set it in a file to the side and move on to the next one. That way we can get as much done as quickly as possible. We can talk a little bit about the bullshit that police will fucking tell us when they don't want to do their goddamn jobs, but since I have actual recordings of them saying those things, basically my evidence will be able to support the same stories that other people have had to go through, their same experiences with the same exact people. Also, in almost all of these agencies, I got to hear about how they were friends with the people that I was trying to turn in, and they were not impartial, not in the least bit. Many of them were extremely threatening. The Scudder family was, everyone in the Scudder family, with the exception of Amanda, was involved in trying to help me to turn this stuff in. But the problem is that, just like with everybody else I went to, the right away thing didn't seem to make sense to them, and you have to turn it in with me didn't seem to make sense to them, and those are the two most important things. Also, when it comes to all of the stuff that I'm doing with you, that's just because I haven't had a friend through any of this who actually stuck with me and has paid attention to what's going on or has even cared. So all of the stuff that a friend or family member should know about the situation, they don't. I still owe you $20. Do you wanna work another 3 hours after dinner?
Yeah.
All right. Um, well, I guess video. Hopefully, whatever officer watches this, if an officer actually gives a shit, um, this is a planning meeting. It's also a verification of, obviously the fact that these are not delusions. It's also a situation where I'm making sure that I do this as safely as I can and that I follow the actual lawyer's instructions instead of believing whatever a goddamn public pretender wants to fucking fill his filthy face with. Was that
That's
inconsiderate?
accurate. That's right.
All right. So, you know how in these videos, good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's keeper too, and no victim left behind. Now, obviously, this is still recording.